You know, ladies and gentlemen, the Underground Railroad freed many slaves from persecution in the States, helped develop many communities in the Maritimes and the east coast of Canada, Ontario. But one interesting side note about, again, the Underground Railroad was the people that put together this association. Now, you're going to be hearing more about it in the next number of months because there's going to be various documentaries and applicable write-ups and YouTubes and mini stories. We're going to talk today about probably one of the earliest hockey leagues on the east coast of Canada, the Colored Hockey League. Now, at the time, Canada didn't spell the word colored with a U. So when you see it referred to like the Americanized spelling of colored. Now, the original CHL was an all-black ice hockey league founded in Nova Scotia in 1895, which featured teams from across the Maritime provinces. The league operated for several decades until 1930, where the Depression cut out a lot of the options. Now, founders included James Borden, James Robinson Johnson, James A.R. Kinney, and Henry Sylvester Williams. Now, started again in 1895. A great connection because a lot of hockey started to build in the mid to late 1890s. It was founded in Halifax by a group of 4 black Baptist leaders and black intellectuals. Pastor, again, James Borden of the Dartmouth Church, James A.R. Kinney, lawyer and community leader, the infamous James Robinson Johnson, and lawyer and Pan-African organizer Henry Sylvester Williams. The league was constructed to attract young black men to Sunday worship with the promise of a hockey game between rival churches after the services. Now, according to the Canadian Encyclopedia, with the influence of the black nationalism movement and with rising interest in the sport of hockey, the league came to be seen as a potential driving force for the equality long overdue for black Canadians. Among the teams in the league were the Halifax Eureka's, based in Halifax, and the Amherst Royals, based in Amherst. At its zenith, the league had teams in 7 communities in Nova Scotia and 1 in the P.E.I. With as many as a dozen teams, over 400 black Canadian players from across Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and P.E.I. participated in competition. The Colored Hockey League is credited by some as being the first league to allow the goalie to leave his feet to cover a puck, circa 1900. This practice was not permitted elsewhere until the formation of the National Hockey League in 1917. It also claimed that the first player to use a slap shot was Eddie Martin of the Halifax Eureka in 1906. Obviously, Bernie Boom Boom Geoffrion and Dickie Irvin Sr. Use slap shots or similar to it. But again, there's a possibility because there was a lot of movement in this league, a very, very fluid association. Now, in 2020, Canada Post issued a postage stamp featuring the 1906 champion Halifax Eureka's to commemorate the history of black hockey players in Canada. Now, the history of the league is profiled in Daryl Fossey and George Fossey's 2004 nonfiction book, Black Ice, The Lost History of the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes, 1895-1925, and the 2014 book, Tribes and International Hockey History, which expands on their previous work, and on Hubert Davis's 2022 documentary, Black Ice. Now, going over a little bit of Black Ice, is slated for release this year. Now, directed and written by Hubert Davis. Now, produced by Vinay Vermani and slated again for release this year. Based in part on the Fossey's nonfiction book Black Ice, the film presents a history of the CHL in the early 20th century and a lingering history of the anti-black racism in the sport of ice hockey. Executive producers include numerous celebrities, including Drake, LeBron James, and Maverick Carter. The film did premiere at the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival, where it's the winner of the People's Choice Award for documentaries. It will get a wider release as the weeks and months pass. Now, again, cinematography by the great Chris Rumeke, edited by Eamon O'Connor, music by Simon Poole. Production companies included First Take Entertainment, Uninterrupted Canada, and Black Ice Productions, distributed by Elevation Pictures. Again, it was released at TIFF to September 10, 2022, with a wider release as the weeks go on. Running time is 97 minutes, and of course, It's in English. Now, the People's Choice Award for the TIFF came to them in mid-September. Now, TIFF is a good promotion for what do you call movies of color, or movies with a historical bent. I think it's going to do quite well. Obviously, it's going to show up on CBC and TSN or RDS, some sports and sports-related channels over the years. But it's kind of interesting where Drake and LeBron James must have talked together about the project somewhere, because Drake, no surprise, would think he would support it. But I don't think LeBron James knows much about Canadian black athletes, and I think he's learning as he goes along. I'd like to see him invest maybe in a documentary on Harry Jerome, maybe talk about the great black athletes of the 1920s and 30s in Canada, and Sam Langford and Georgie Dixon down the road. If LeBron and Drake got the money, they should do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of the Colored Hockey League of the 19th and 20th century. If you like what we're doing here on our Hockey Vintage Podcast, let us know with a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you can see the movie either online when it's released or wide release, check it out. I think there's some recreations in the movie, a la what CBC does, in the Murdoch mystery style. It's going to be quite nice. But just remember, it's spelled like the American, C-O-L-O-R-E-D, not colored. So just in case, if you're Googling it, it doesn't show up right away. Because in Canada, as you know, to our American cousins, colored always has a U. So it's not grammatically incorrect, but it's correct to celebrate such a legacy. Thanks for listening. Bye.